I'm Ed Begley. How are we doing today? I'm trying to remain hopeful. No small feat given what we're seeing today in great detail. I certainly knew about the gyre in the Pacific, the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. I knew about some of the Atlantic gyres, and I knew of these things. I know of the many other environmental ills that we face. I know some of those details pretty well. But, you know, where's the hope? And I promise you I will get to a hopeful message today. You just got to give me a few minutes. Because without hope, I mean, what are we going to do? That's one of the two great lies. And there are two that I've always been aware of. One great lie, there is no hope. Let's just watch it all unfold on the big screen TV and get a sixer and, you know, relax, and there's nothing you can do. So why bother? That is a lie. I know, and I'll give you evidence of why that's a lie. I promise you. The other lie that is gaining popularity is that there is no problem. Back to your houses, folks, nothing to see, no problem. And that, as you know, with climate change and other things, is, you know, that lie is gaining. A year and a half ago, there was 60-some-odd% of the U.S. population believed in climate change, you know, human-induced climate change. Now it's 40-something, 48, I can't remember. It's not good. So Fox News is winning. Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh are winning on that front for now. People, you know, a lot of people think there is no problem. Well, there are problems, and there is hope. What do we do about this problem with plastics? I'm not sure what the final solution to it all is, but I have a couple of thoughts. You've heard many of them today, much more eloquently than I could ever possibly speak to the issue. But I, for years, have been involved in boycotts because I knew Cesar Chavez. I knew the wonderful, great labor leader Cesar Chavez with the United Farm Workers, and he knew how a boycott worked. He knew that I think it was something like 4%, he couldn't get Bud Antle or Jamara grapes or Gallo, any of those people go to the table. But at 5%, they would sit down with him and talk. It was a percentage, and I can't remember what it was, but he told me the percentage, and it varied. With lettuce, it was this, and with grapes, it was that, and he knew it. So boycotts work, and he made it work, and he did it nonviolently, but I stand here today with Ms. Malkin, who is up here, talking about a girl cot. That's the way to do it. A girl cot is the way. 85% of the purchasing power, ladies, you have the power to do this even more than we do. So thank you for bringing that to our attention. But what do? We eliminate these plastics from our life. But the great lie, the reason to do nothing is that, and I heard it back in 1970 when I started being this green guy basically, you know, just wanting to do something to stop the smog in LA in 1970, doing something to stop the pollution I saw in the Santa Monica Bay. I didn't need to read a study about it. I did read studies about it, but you could see it, you could feel it. You couldn't run from here to, you know, out to that walkway without wheezing like this, and it was very, very bad. So I got involved in 1970, and I started doing stuff. And people thought it was pretty wacky back in 1970. You think it's wacky now, riding a bike around to an event. It was it was not at all hip to ride a bike in 1970. My bell bottoms got caught in the chain. The wind resistance from my afro slowed me down incredibly. But I stayed with it because I did all this stuff. Recycling, I know now, recycling of plastics is basically putting lipstick on a pig, you know. It really isn't ultimately the way to go to really solve the problem, and I'll talk about that a bit. But other aluminum, what have you, has some worth in recycling of other things. All recycling has some value, but it's a distraction, it's a Band-Aid in the case of plastics, because not all of it winds up where it's supposed to be. And there's a lot of toxicity in that recycling process with a lot of these different materials. So the idea of generating mountains of trash and recycling is not good. But what I did